So I am so happy that this manifested as one of the gifts I want to share with my international audience here in 2020. I would like them to meet some lights from the north. Because did you know that Nostradamus, back in the Middle Age, he said that the world will be saved by the light from the north. And so I would like to introduce my international audience to Nordic lights, Nordic highlights, and you're one of them. Because you're such a special person in the sense that you used to be a really down-to-earth, rational engineer. And now you're one of the most advanced shamans that I know of, one of the most extraordinary energy workers that I know of. So I wanted the international world to get to know you. So here she is, Marianne Lane. So could you, so hello, and thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, Kirsten, and thank you for inviting me. And I can really feel how the field is opening, and that it's different from the field that I'm normally working in. So I'm a bit shaken and can feel that the energy here is opening into a larger space. So it's I'm getting serious and really respectful about the ability to meet people this way. You know, this is really about the new era, the new energies, that we can meet each other using these new technologies and meet each other in the energy. So even though that I'm here in the most northern part of Denmark and talking to you in Denmark, and still we can reach a lot of people around the globe, not only in sight or in hearing, but also in this recognition and the energy. So I'm just, entering into the space together with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And you know, for my audience, what's so wonderful about talking with Marianne this way is that Marianne always starts a healing right when we begin. So you always talk about the energy that arrives when we gather and when we start working. And for me, this is so fascinating because I actually don't see energy. I feel energy, but I don't see it. But you're one of the ones who can actually really feel energy very thoroughly. And you also work a lot with cosmic energies and have done a lot of work for the global situation, because you always work with larger entities of energy. And actually that would be interesting if you could introduce your work a little bit, because people who don't know you, is really interesting to hear how you work. So can you just tell us a little bit about your work? You travel all over the world and you do major healings in different sacred places. So just introduce us a little bit to your work and your way of working.
Oh, yes. It's both easy and kind of difficult to summon it all up, because in my everyday life, I'm just Marianne, doing my best to keep the balance and be aware and being available for balance energy, open these fields that we are connected in. They are already here, the oldest one and the newest one, and I'm working mostly with the new ones. So we have really ancient fields here on Earth, fields of energy, mutual fields that are large scale. They are ancestor fields, and they are before ancestor fields, because before we were souls here on Earth, souls from other places around in the cosmic community started placing seeds here on Earth to prepare the field for us, like creating the most perfect space, the most perfect space for our community to open into this awareness. So ancient, really old fields, and these fields, they are renewable. It's like when you have a computer or a cell phone, sometimes it's the systems and it gets too old, and then you need to get it updated. So right now in these eras, we are updating the fields. So I've been traveling around the world and working with updating the fields, helping, being available by holding the fields and channeling messages and kind of keeping the access available to as many people as possible. Because it's the new era is about being together. It's togetherness. It's the heart era, and it's a magic era. So keeping the availability is much what my work is about. So when I'm holding this field for healing for you and everybody who wants to join, I'm holding the availability. So I'm not creating it, I'm not giving it, I'm just inviting everybody to enter into the possibility together with me. And a lot of people around Earth right now is opening to different availabilities. So like in everyday life, we know we have a carpenter, and we have an engineer, and we have a doctor and a mechanic, and everybody has different availabilities for keeping a system going. At the same way, we have different availabilities to holding spaces for healing. And the kind of spaces that I'm holding for healing, together with a lot of other people, is the access to getting balance into your life, into your everyday life. And the more balance you get into your everyday life, the more access you can get to this kind of upgrades, like we know with the cell phone. So if your computer or your cell phone need an upgrade, it slows down, it starts malfunctioning, it doesn't run the systems very well. And after an update, it's kind of work better. And a lot of the reason why it works better is because a lot of the machine power goes on the internet. So that's also what's happening right now, is that our consciousness, when it's opening into this new fields, this new possibilities, it's the same way. Like we are open to the part of our energetical fields where our soul is ruling or is handling the stuff. And our soul is really capable of handling stuff compared to our old system here. So what we are doing right now is that we are opening to this upgrade of our system using the soul internet, and our soul is using that to upgrade our system. So we will get more balance, more availability for inner wisdom, for knowledge that is already here for everybody. And by that, we're getting the access also for viruses, or for malfunctioning. So to ensure that we are not getting into the risks of getting virus or malfunction, we have to open through the heart. So the field that is opening right now is helping us, supporting us to get into this access where we are accessing the upgrade of our system into the new ways going through the heart. As long as we go through the heart, we will ensure that the soul will come first, not our instincts, not our ego, all the things that we carry that can make a lot of malfunctioning in our system, giving us a lot of headache and heartache and aches everywhere. So to ensure that we are not opening to that kind of access, we go through the heart and take the heart breath, you could say it. So you connect to your heart. So if you want to join, you just go into the contact with yourself. Sometimes it helps to close the eyes because the eyesight is carrying really many information into your system. So closing that down, sometimes you recognize yourself deeper. Take a couple of soft breaths. And go into the recognition that it's okay. You want to join the access to the update. So yeah, see if you recognize it. If you don't recognize it, it's okay. You can just do it some other time if you want to. And if you can recognize, yes, it's perfect right now for me. And you just say it, you put your intention, you make the choice. The choice is really important right now. So you make the choice, yes. And then you go into this mutual field of us. And because I took that bridge, I took that heart bridge, I walk this path, and I share it with you. So now you join me. And everybody in this space that have walked this path different ways is sharing now. When you enter and you start to receive, you immediately start to give. So that enhances the field, so it gets stronger and helps deeper. Everybody, every one of us to go into this heart connection. The heart bridge is opening. And when the heart bridge is opening, you get into this state. This is what's happening right now, that your connection, your soul connection is opening by itself. The field is important because every one of us is already somehow there. So by joining this field, we are supporting each other. Go into this opening where we are allowing our soul to step closer, to get more connected, more deeply connected. And when you do that, sometimes it feels really good. Sometimes you can feel this sorrow and this aching and this feeling sour, and it's okay. Because immediately when your soul is entering, getting closer, it softens up and it heals. Your own soul is healing you. Every part of you that have been longing or being afraid, being alone, felt left out, left behind, every part is healed. Maybe you recognize it right now. Maybe you can feel this moods changing, changes in the energy. Maybe you don't recognize it right now. And it doesn't matter. It's when you enter into your everyday life and you recognize the difference, that's where it matters. And that's also where it enters into reality. Reality is where it's coded into your DNA. It's accessing into the part of you that's carrying the remembrance of everything. And when you are carrying this soft, connected way of being into your existence, Every time you will recognize your inner wisdom, you will have the ability to act with your heart and your soul. It will be downloaded, it will be remembered all the way down into the DNA libraries. It's carrying everything that is worth remembering. And until now, all the libraries on Earth is carried in by longing, needing, or fright. Scaring stuff that our survival system has embedded into our DNA. But slowly this past 100 years, we started remembering in our DNA also fulfillment, the part that makes us alive, not only living but alive. The remembrance of the love, the wisdom. Slowly it has begun entering into these libraries. It's opening. But they're still really narrow. There's not much in to the bookshelves yet because we haven't been there for so long. So it could be nice with a little help. So in just these times over the new year, entering into the 2020, we enter into the cosmic communities and they reach out for us. They support us with a hand, and the reaching out is the support for opening to their libraries for how to carry in the soul purpose in everyday physical life without narrowing down being human or being the creature that we are, because in my way of seeing, human means soul carried in a physical state. Slowly the libraries, they're opening now, and we're getting download with remembrance of possibilities of balancing in being human, carrying heart, soul, wisdom, carrying the soul's deepest and highest purposes at the same time. Because most of all, the meaning by everything is thriving, is carrying love and humor and living ourselves out, ensuring that as much remembrance in the DNA as possible is carried in with love, and thus changing our own lives, changing the ancestor fields, changing the libraries, and by time changing humanity. One small step at a time, but one meaningful step at a time. Because the cradle of spirituality has been believing, being a bit superstitious, looking for the signs, looking for what's possible to see within the stars. But in the new era, we are starting to reach it from within. So we're reaching the stars and the knowledge and the wisdom from within. So we are not looking outside of ourselves anymore. We start to recognize it from the inside. And this shift is so hard to understand. It's just as hard to understand as if I should understand cell phones or the internet when I was a child. You know, everything has to go by wire or by something written on the paper delivered by a human being. It needed to be transported by something you could measure or see. But right now we have the cell phones. We can reach each other without wires. I would never have understood that at that time. And at the same time, the same way, we cannot understand what is happening to our consciousness right now. But we can start investigating it, opening to the curiosity and the recognition. When we are recognizing the changing, the peace, the love, the faith that is opening from within, the knowledge, the deep simplicity that's open when the synchronicity is changing from the outside to the inside. Changing from the synchronicity is the simplicity. So when you recognize that, not everywhere, not every hour, not every second, but in glimpses, like when you suddenly see a beautiful star in heaven. In the same way, you in a glimpse recognize that you have a truly deep connection and you know what to do and you know how to behave, and you are not only proud of yourself, you recognize yourself, you recognize the love that you're carrying in. In this small glimpse, if you recognize them, you're enhancing and you are starting to share, because you are leaving it in the libraries. So when you're recognizing it deeply enough, you will code it into your own DNA, and by the connection to the libraries, you will leave books on the shelves. And when somebody is coming by and opening to the libraries, to their connection, they will recognize it sooner, because you recognize that you shared it. Because right now in this time, the truly difference from the era that we come from and to the era that we are going into is that we are going in together. So the togetherness is the new thing. So we're sharing deeply recognition of love and soul path. And by sharing in these levels, it gets possible in our generation. We don't have to wait like earlier, where we have to wait generation by generation for the pride and the hate in the DNA to be dissolved slowly. We can exchange it now, slowly but surely, and in a lifetime. And because every one of us is heartfelt, everyone is carrying a soul, it's like this glimpse will come. In these small spaces where we are asking ourselves, where we are looking for the wisdom, where we are curiously, interestingly looking for what's happening. What is the small differences here? And I'm looking for the changes that shows me the love. By taking this small choice, looking for the love, we are starting the way. That if it will happen like I've seen it, and a lot of others have seen it, it will travel to our fields, our collective mutual fields, and join it. So we are in one level of consciousness becoming one. And when we in love, one level of consciousness become one, we can accept that we are unique, that every single one of us is unique and different, and that this is a gift. This is really what's the most meaningful part of being a soul on earth, is this being so unique and carrying our way of meeting the reality of the physical world with our consciousness. That print, that fingerprint of consciousness every single one of us is different and is carrying in the love and the wisdom in the reality world from worlds behind. And then we are carrying in the soul purpose of us. Everybody, every single one of us, uniquely and united at the same time. Feeling the warmth from our energy, and it's landing now, and the wave is showing. And I recognize the energy is carried deep in the body and deep in the energy. And that's also new. It's also what has happened right now in this changes. It started in 2012, and for 7 years we have been on the first wave that carrying the consciousness in. So we are now able to carrying the consciousness from the soul in the deeper layers of our consciousness, where fright until now have been ruling, fright and needing. But now the gates, they're opening, and maybe you can recognize it also that if people are used to joining healings and receiving healing, sometimes it's really glittery, highly frequent, and you can feel that you're rising up into higher vibrations. But this kind of healings, it's new era healings, they are deep. So you have to recognize them in the deep part of you where you often have been kind of trying not to be, because that's where we have been carrying our pain and our fright and disillusions and all this heavy stuff. So because we're so used to trying not to be in contact with this area, sometimes it's difficult to recognize the energies. But if you take this soft breath, maybe you can recognize that it's more soft and at the same time clearly the way you're meeting your body. And if you just put a small smile on your face, you can recognize that this smile is traveling easily through your body. Then you recognize that you have received the healing.
Wow, Marianne, I told everybody that they were in for a treat, but I didn't know it was this kind of treat. I can feel it in my crown chakra. It's like I can really feel that the light is pouring in. So it's quite tangible. And I think for me, that's a big difference from former times, because I used to feel like an elephant, like with elephant skin, that I couldn't feel, when I was in these workshops with, supposedly there was a lot going on and I couldn't feel a thing. So I always felt like the elephant in the room. But now it's very tangible. It's like very heavy, very, very, very dense, very intense. Like you cannot avoid it. So I think this is a big difference in time, and I am very encouraged by the fact that you say that this is something that is for everybody, because it used to be that enlightenment and wisdom was for a few. We had Christ, we had Buddha, we had a few enlightened people, like Eckhart Baron Katie. We had more and more ordinary people popping up, but now it's like it seems like it's more and more people that you meet that are actually quite advanced in their wisdom. So this must be a sign that wisdom is creeping in. Ancient wisdom is becoming everyday life. Is that your experience?
Yes, exactly. the really big job for us right now is to ensure that we are not crumpling that or crashing it because we want it to be something like it used to be. So being together with this awareness that is opening, it really takes a lot of curiosity and a lot of respect to the old way of being without trying to push the old way of being across and down the road and everywhere into this way of awakening or starting to opening into being more aware. And as I see it, if you want to follow it, you can look at the technologies because they are showing it. So how many people around the globe now is having the availability of a cell phone? That's kind of showing how many people is connected also more deeply. And actually, I recognized when I was in a field and was seeing things by this inner side, I saw that the cell phones that I was kind of grumpy about them, how much time they were taking for everybody and what they did to our way of being and stuff. But suddenly I could see that the way that we are using cell phones is training our consciousness and our mind in a way that we are opening for the availability for the soul, for the inner wisdom. So maybe there's a connection. I'm also really aware about the difference between knowing and believing and being inspired by, because that's also one of the big issues right now when so many people is opening at the same time is keeping the feet on the ground and recognize, okay, I believe in this, but I'm not sure if it's for real, but believing in it does something good for me. So as long as believing in it does something good for me in my everyday life, make me thrive, make me do good stuff, make me feel better, make me more proud of the way I'm being, then it's healthy and then it's a good line. But if you are starting believing so much that you are losing track of your behavior or how you are thriving or what is really important for you in your everyday life, if you're losing that by getting connected, then it's unhealthy. So we have issues about ensuring that when we are having so many people opening at the same time, that we still recognize what it's all about. That we hear, even though we start remembering earlier life, other spaces, other places, seeing stuff, knowing stuff, carrying in identities from I don't know what, that we are recognizing and remembering that this is where we are, this is the party, it's being human, it's thriving, it's doing our best every day as a human, and as this person that I am, how I'm managing to being this is what's matter. And then the rest is tools and sight senses and the updates that helps the system to carrying in information so I can do it better. So ensuring and keep track of not being misled by it is one thing. And the other thing is this not wanting to make it in a special way or in an old way or in a special new way, my way. It's important that this freedom and availability for carrying in this opening in our own special way, our own unique way, but entering into this fields together and helping each other, joining, recognizing, okay, this feels good for me. What this person is talking about gives meaning to me. It gives me peace. I'm getting more deeply connected to be myself. I recognize things about myself and about my everyday life. Then it's a kind of collaboration or togetherness that helps you. So being aware of that is important when so many people are opening at the same time, that we don't want to put it into boxes, and we don't want to be like making a mess of everything. So holding this balance, and because of that, I recognize that it melts together. So not only the technology is supporting the wisdom and the opening of the consciousness, it's also the consciousness is also supporting the opening for the techniques, but also the development of the communities, the way we change all over the world is also supporting the structures and the possibilities and reality for entering the entrance of the soul and the heartly felt ways of being carried by the heart. So it's movements, and a lot of it we can never keep track on it. It's like we are a natural system, every one of us, and communities and the whole world is a natural system, and we're not in a lab. We're not worked on. We are looked upon and we are helped, but we are taking the choices every day, and we are doing what we are here for, being us, and by being that, we are opening for the possibilities for the soul and the connection to open into the physical realities. So
it's definitely exciting new times, but I just wanted to clarify something, because if you look at the world today, I mean, it sounds like you're very optimistic that this new consciousness is actually descending on Earth and actually upgrading all of us to soul level living. And it sounds, when I listen to you, like it's going to happen pretty automatically.
Automatically, but also by choices made by human all the time. Choices that ensures that people will get inspired. And the reason why I'm sure about it, or optimistic about it, never sure. Optimistic about it is that I can recognize it in myself, I can recognize it in people around me, I can recognize it in the children and in the young ones, that they're carrying a wisdom and a broader perspective of life. And also, this is something that is entering everywhere, like under the screen, because this is unexpected. So because it's unexpected, it's carried in under the screen. So nobody will recognize it until it's here, as I see it. Oh yeah, everybody can recognize, because you can recognize the peace, you can recognize that you suddenly realize this new things. It's more easy to communicate. You recognize things, you understand things you didn't understand before, so you recognize the upgrade, everybody would. But the connection in people that will open and that will ensure that this is something that enters into the communities and into the reality in larger scale will go under the screen until it's so strong that it will open, and it will open peacefully and loving, caring, because that's how it is. It will not be a fight. It cannot be fight, because it is love and it's peace. It's really hard to recognize it right now, but if you recognize how people were handling each other 1,000 years ago, how people can handle each other sometimes around the world, even now, and even next door. Sometimes it's really bad. But still, there's this movement of recognition that is opening for somebody would say that I'm too positive in my perspective, but I've seen things. I've seen changes, and some of the changes that I've seen has already happened. That and it goes fast. So I recognize that in our lifetime, we will see it. And we already does. If you are looking at the perspective when they are recognizing how much harm is done in the world, how much war is in the world compared to peace, it's in the lowest level ever. We recognize everything right now, so it doesn't seem like that because we haven't the comparison and we don't know. We see the bad stuff and we can't handle it. So it feels so much. It fills us up, so we are kind of getting depressed and losing the possibility of being positive. So that's a burden that we're carrying right now, but it will flatten out. It seems like it will flatten out, and that new ways of carrying in news, news and information around the world. In 5 to 10 years, it looks like a different ways of exchanging this. So it doesn't go through higher levels of people who will make a decision of what you should know from around the world. This will kind of, under the screen from these people that is taking these decisions, it will start to flow. So when this information starts to flow and people around the globe will recognize everything that is happening, a lot of things will change. A lot of the old ways of keeping things down and try to hire other things will flatten out. And we can carrying that now, so it will open for a positive perspectives, because we are love.
Yeah, I agree on that. I have had that experience a couple of times to really experience that, and it's quite extraordinary. And the art, of course, is to live it in everyday life, even in spite of challenges and in spite of how other people treat you. Who don't necessarily recognize themselves as love, but I work with leadership, and when I say that the future is feminine, that's actually what I mean. That it's more so-called feminine qualities or yin qualities, inner qualities that will be more prevalent now instead of outer qualities or this outward-going energy that we've been using for so long. It's going to be more like the inner qualities. But I also work with leadership, and I am very. I'm also, I would say, optimistic, but. I don't believe things are going to come automatically. I think we're being helped. But I do think it's time that everybody uses their gifts and capabilities and ship them into the whole. I don't believe that we can act as passive victims and just be flown into that new world. I really believe we have to make some choices, some active choices. We have to vote for the light. We have to vote for love. We have to show in our everyday leadership what we believe in or what we want to have happen, because we are creators. And we are co-creators, so we do have a say. So, or do you think that leadership is obsolete? We can just lean back and it's a big wave and it's just going to take us there?
No. When I say it comes from within and from choices, that's exactly the same as what you're calling leadership. And when I say it comes through the heart, it's exactly the same as saying the feminine perspective have to enter to open the masculine perspective in the new levels. So exactly the same.
Just a different. So you agree that the feminine is the new operating system through the heart and through heart and soul and intuition.
Yes, the feminine key has to open for the masculine space, and then the masculine space and the feminine space will reunite. And then balance will occur. But the key right now is feminine.
Hallelujah. This is what I work for. This is what I work for. No, it is. And it's so beautiful to hear it said by someone else that this, because this has also always been my intuitive vision. It's like, for me, it's so logical. But it took me so many years to understand why I was so preoccupied with the feminine perspective. Not the female, but the feminine. And it took me I so often get misunderstood when I talk about the feminine, because people think it's against the masculine. But I just have this feeling that we have to put the feminine foot first, and then the masculine foot can sort of support or being in alignment with. It's because what we've been doing until now is the other way around. We've just been acting.
But it's just like a bracelet, or we have to shift. So right now the masculine have been there for a long time. Now the feminine key have to open, but then we enter into this space where both is opening for some time, and then if it's happening, like it's prophetized, then both will exist at the same time. So instead of one masculine, one feminine, one masculine, one feminine, then both will occur at the same time, and then balance will be the new platform.
Yeah, because the union between these two energies is what we're all striving for. That's where we're whole.
And none of us know what it means yet, because we haven't been there. So it's like being in an adventure, and like opening it at the first time.
So you and I are both in the, what you could say is, what you couldn't call it, soul business of opening up, helping people get access, or helping people accelerate that process. So what do you think people need help with?
Oh, it's different. It's really different. But if you should say what most people come with, it's recognizing themselves, and also letting go of guilt and shame and pain to get access.
And fear.
Fear, a lot of fear. To get access. So that's what, and a lot of people comes around to get help for recognizing the path that they are already wandering. And all the things they've already been doing, because we have always this way of seeing what we need to conquer, and what we have been conquered already, we don't see it. We only look for what's left on the travel. So I also see that there's a lot of people getting help by showing them the perspective of what they already conquered, and how long they already been wandering on the path, and what they have received and become, and recognizing it, accepting it, and appreciating it. It's also a huge part of the transformation.
Yeah, and I do work a lot in corporations and with entrepreneurs, and I find that many need to switch operating system, because they still operate according to the old system, and make a great effort and a great job at really flexing those muscles and becoming good at them. So preoccupied by the old operating system that they don't recognize that the rules of the games have changed. So if you continue with the old operating system, it's not in alignment with the new world. So you have to switch operating systems. So that's actually what I am passionate about, giving people access to, or helping people recognize.
It's really important. Yeah. Really important what you're doing there, because you need both systems. But if you're kind of trapped in the old system and reaching for the new possibilities, then you get stress, and you get distress, and you get trouble carrying your energy. You get breakdowns in your energy, because you're reaching for this high frequent way of being, but still carrying the old system. That's kind of trying to hotwire, or to send in really high amount of energy through an old wire system. It'll short while will break down. So helping people to get access to the new system, like you're doing, is so important to get the possibilities to prevail that stress and the problems with the energy all over in the system will be a part of your everyday life. So helping them doing that is both healthy. It's also letting them cross the bridge with ongoing access to both parts, the old part and the new part, and that's really important. That's just as important, being available to be using the old system as the new one. So getting the access is so important, like you're working with.
Yeah, because I also find that it opens up a lot of creativity.
Yeah.
And that's what we need in order to solve all the new problems. So we cannot be as creative as needed if we continue with the old operating system, because it needs both gears to work. I've been so happy about talking to you. This is not going to be the last time I call upon you. And for people listening, Marianne is doing so much service in the world. She's doing an amazing amount of YouTube videos. You're doing a lot of courses and workshops where people can experience your abilities as a healer. You're doing a lot of healing work where you heal the core, and you actually train people in being able to heal other people's core. So you have a lot of education. So look up Marianne's website and sign up to her newsletter if you want to be kept in the loop about that.
And until now, it's mostly in Danish, but we are upgrading. New upgrade, also in English.
Yes. And and the two of us are doing some things together. We are doing a course called The Gate. What is it you had the beautiful name for it?
The Gate to the Feminine, Divine.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're doing that course together. We're both obsessed about the feminine. I am, at least, and you are also working a lot with the feminine and being an example of carrying this divine feminine. So we're doing that, and actually men are welcome. The divine feminine is not only for women; it's for all. So
we need the masculine energy also, because the gate is the masculine. So
yeah. So if you want to join us, you can join us. You can just keep posted on our websites, and then if you want to hear more, you can join our newsletters. But for now, I just want to really thank you for giving us this optimistic perspective. You know, it really has left me with a lot of hope, because sometimes when I look at the world, it's not obvious that we're going to survive as a human species. It's not obvious that we're going to get a better world. I think we really need to step up and use all the resources we have now to be able to create that. Because if we just let other people rule, I'm not so sure that it's going to be an upgraded future. So it's very beautiful that you have given us hope. I want to thank
you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for inviting me into this beautiful space of energy. New to me, loving it. Thank you so much for getting this possibility for sharing. So it means a lot to me.
Yeah, I'm so happy. So we will meet again and create more energy spaces together. So for now, I just want to thank you, and everybody who listened in. Thank you so much for your attention. I hope it left you uplifted and inspired and ready to take advantage of your extraordinary possibilities and let the light in. Let the light in. All right. Thank you so much, Marianne. I'm going to end this meeting now.